Okay, so we have to rewind because we just missed out on 5 minutes because it wasn't recording. So let's go back and talk about your mission and how was it you came to be called on a mission. So was it your lifelong dream to always serve a mission? Did you visualize yourself?
It never entered my mind to serve a mission. It was not even on the radar. I'd gone to church all my life. I believed it. But it was just not something that was ever
considered.
Girls were not, boys went on missions.
And so how old were you when you were called?
20.
And what were you doing at the time?
I was working at the telephone company and for one of the executives in the central office, and really was having a great time.
And typically, what age were girls called on a mission back then?
26.
26. So you were in, and what were you doing as a 20-year-old? Were your friends in town? Were you?
Yeah, my best girlfriend had gotten married, Joyce, and so I was really missing her. But I ran around with girls at the office and
were you dating?
Dating a lot. Yeah, I dated officers at the Air Force Base and had been asked to be married several times, but would not consider really anybody.
And so you were in the height of dating, and what'd you say about Mama Opal being concerned about you?
Oh, well, when I came home from dates, she was very concerned about my social life and my carryings on, and my patriarchal blessing would be on my pillow when I would get home at night.
And you would just roll your eyes?
And I'd roll my eyes and think, oh, poor Mom, so uninformed, So that Sunday when I was supposed to meet President Smith to be, and I was all ready to say no. No was at the uppermost of my mind, that I would say no, I would not go on a mission. And he grabbed my hand and shook it. Big man. He was a big mess of humanity. I just loved him because I'd known him for a long time and he'd been in our house for years. And so he was from Spanish Fork, Utah, and owned a car dealership there, a Ford car dealership. And in fact, it is still there and is owned by his sons.
Oh, wow.
And grandsons. So he grabbed my hand and says, well, Sister Speed, are you ready for that mission call? I opened my mouth to say no, and yes, ma'am. I was so shocked. I had no idea that it was like the Lord had a real hand in it, because I had no intention of going on a mission.
And when you said yes?
I just turned around and like, who said that? I couldn't believe it. And he says, good. He says, we'll get you on the bus next Friday and send you to Houston. And the reason he called me is that normally out of Salt Lake, 3 months ahead of time, girls know when they're going to be called. And he had called, a sister had gone home, so we had a sister in Houston without a companion, and Sister Duffin. And so she had no companion, and he had said we have to have one. So he called Salt Lake, and they said, President Smith, we don't have anyone scheduled to come to Texas. And because girls, there weren't a lot of women that went on missions in those days to begin with. And so he says, why don't you call somebody there from Texas? And he says, can you think of anybody? And he says, yeah, I have one. And unbeknownst to me, he had talked to Dad.
And your dad said, sure.
And he says, George, would you send Vergie on a mission? He says, sure, if she wants to go. Grant was out at the time, and so I think their main concern was money, to come up with an extra $50 a month to send me on a mission. Is that amazing?
And how did they do that?
I have no idea.
They just found it?
They just found it.
And so were you called on a 2-year mission?
Well, for 18 months,
18
just
months.
like it is now.
Okay. And so you didn't go to the MTC?
I did not. I went straight from San Angelo to Houston. They picked me up at Houston, and it was very normal to go down to the street corner and do your thing, which...
What do you mean, go down
to proselyte on a street corner.
And just start talking?
And I had nothing to say. I really...
Okay, so had you been you hadn't been endowed, you hadn't been through the temple?
No temple.
Which
And
was that unusual for the
very,
time?
very unusual. Yeah.
Okay, and there was no temple in Texas yet.
No, the closest temple was Arizona.
Okay, yeah. And then, had your parents been sealed in the temple?
Yes.
Okay.
By this time they had, but it'd only been a year. They were sealed, and I was sealed to them. That's a whole nother story. But I was sealed to them at that time.
Okay.
And
so you were on your mission, and you were dropped off at the street corner with Sister...
with Sister Duffin. And
Was her name Lorana? Was that
no,
Lorana?
that was Ivy Lee.
Ivy Lee, okay.
So Lorana's name is Lorana Lee, and
Okay.
that's after Ivy Lee.
Okay.
And just a little footnote, I met Ivy Lee at Jacob's wedding, you know.
Yeah, we
after
have a picture
40,
of that.
50 years, yeah. Is
Yeah.
that amazing?
Still active.
Still very active.
And did she
And
marry a nice man?
She married Paul Egan, and they have two sons. And
Good.
just a darling woman. She has a beautiful voice. I always wanted her to sing at my wedding or my funeral, you know.
So, and then you were on your mission for 18 months, and did you ever get your endowment on your mission?
No,
Really?
no. Well, President Smith went home after 6 months, and Lincoln Hanks and his wife, Emma, came out, and they had... President Hanks wanted to send me back to Salt Lake to get my endowments. And Joseph Fielding was over our mission at that time, Joseph Fielding Smith. And he talked to him on the phone and said, yes, send her back. We'll be happy to have her and go through the temple. But she will not get back to Texas. And I'd already been out 6 months. I had a year left. And they really left it up to me.
Meaning they would have kept you in Salt Lake
They would have,
to serve
they
in
would have
Salt.
sent me somewhere,
somewhere
else.
else? Okay.
Yeah, they would have sent me to another mission.
Okay. And you didn't want to go to another
Well,
mission?
I just said to President Hanks, I said, I already speak the language, so I might as well stay here. I've been out 6 months already. And I used to really wonder, you know, I
Second
would
guess.
dream about going through the temple. I would ask every question I could of my companions of what it is like. And the book of Temples of the Most High gives you a lot of information, but I just remember going through, and it was more than I ever dreamed it would be. It was a great experience. So, I just
who
think
took
it
you
was
through?
worth
Was
the
it
wait.
was it Mama Opal?
Mother was there, and it was the day I got married.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So,
Dad was there.
yeah.
Wow. Did you go through and then get married like right after?
Yeah.
Is that what they did?
Just went right to the sealing room.
Wow.